Welcome back to On Points Recap Edition. Ed DeRosa alongside James Scully. And James, not only a couple Derby points races this past weekend, but some key final preps for the Breeders Cup Juvenile.
Yeah, two big preps at Keeneland and Belmont Park. Both races, the Breeders Futurity and the Champagne, went wire to wire, Ed, but one had a 70-1 shocker, the other one had a favorite.
Yeah, and it was a shocker to me. I gave Knicks very little chance, admittedly, and really not much drama for his connections. Once the horse hit the backside, it was pretty clear he wasn't going to be caught, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, really, just like, I think it was hard to figure he'd be on the lead because he had led wire to wire in that Ellis debut race, maiden race, but he couldn't make the front in the Sanford or the Arlington, Washington Futurity, where he was off the board in both of those efforts. And, you know, he got out there and was on a comfortable lead, leading by about a length the whole way until the end of the far turn where he just drew off like an even odds-on favorite.
Yeah, and tricky configuration, the mile and a 16th at Keeneland with the short stretch, and certainly when you're alone on the lead like that, it's a lot easier to go on with it, turning for home. Did have some interesting trips behind him, though. Standard deviation, of course, marooned. He was number 14. I guess he was in post 13 with the scratch, but obviously tough with the configuration to do much from outside, and really never a threat to win, though, but ran okay behind the winner.
Yeah, never a threat to win, but he was wide on the first turn, and he was at least 7 or 8 pass wide, I thought, on the far turn, and really, I thought, finished up pretty nicely to be third. He couldn't catch Signal Man, who had a little bit of rough trip in the stretch because a horse Derby day came over and sort of bumped with the second, third, and fourth, or the horses that were second and third and fourth at the time. But standard deviation ran well. He's got a nice future for Chad Brown. Looks like a horse he'll keep on going with at 2-turn distances.
Yeah, from a classic or juvenile short-term, classic long-term perspective, standard deviation probably the only one out of that race that intrigues. And
maybe the runner-up a little bit because that was only his, you know, he had just broken his maiden, but definitely standard deviation's the one I want.
And not Knicks Go.
And not Knicks Go. Knicks Go, you know, might get some stamina from Painter. Obviously, you can get a mile and a 16th. But that female family is so slanted to speed. It's just speed and speed, turf sprint speed as well.
Well, tremendous upset, though. Always fun to see, even when you don't cash. Pretty remarkable to win at 70-1. Highest 2-year-old points race winner ever in terms of odds. Second highest of any points race behind I've Struck a Nerve. And both Ben Colebrook, now the only trainer with 3 $50 winners since Keeneland returned to dirt. So Longshot trainer, got the big money in the Futurity, and a trainer that's a stranger to long shots more often than not, Chad Brown, wins the Champagne with the favorite.
Yeah, complexity I thought looked really good, Ed. I mean, he didn't break on top, but like one jump out of the gate, he just shot right to clear lead and dominated the whole way. Really, I thought was a little bit like, perhaps, Jose Ortiz was really riding him hard late and may have been getting a little bit tired. And you can just like sort of see the way he's built. I'm a little bit concerned both with the pedigree and the way he's built with him going longer. And Chad Brown alluded to that in the post race. We're going to go to the juvenile, but we'll see about 2-turn distances. But a very talented colt nonetheless, a 2-year-old. And I thought that one of the takeaways from that race was obviously the trip of the runner-up, Code of Honor. He missed the start. It looked like he hit his head on the ground when he stumbled coming out of the gate, but a really good runner-up effort, I thought.
Now to borrow the Naira handicapper Andy Serling's show, Trips or Trap, is Code of Honor, is that a trip to play back, or is that a trap?
I think it's definitely a trip to play back because, they put Eric Cancel on there. The jockey even said after the race the plan was to be on the front end. When he broke like that, where he stumbled coming out of the gate, he changed tactics. And he made a really, eye-catching move. He got a little bit tired late, but I like the fact that he still finished a clear second.
All right, Chad Brown won this race last year with won the Juvenile last year with Maiden Good Magic, eventual runner-up in the Derby. He now has the winner of the Champagne, third place finisher of both the Champagne and the Futurity, so loaded again. And Aurelius Maximus, I thought, was somewhat interesting, chasing home his stablemate.
Yeah, I thought Aurelius Maximus, there's another horse that, like, when he broke his first time out, he hit the gate at the start and got off to a slow start and ran third, so they come back in his second race, and he's on the front end from the very beginning. He wins by 7 lengths. So he comes out of the gate in the Champagne, and he's like last. I mean, net last or next to last with Code of Honor. So totally unanticipated kind of trip, I thought, for him. But I did like his rally. He got up, he got beat in a photo for third, and it was pretty solid. And he has some potential going forward, obviously being by Pioneer of the Nile and out of an AP Indy mare.
All right, this will be the 7th Breeders' Cup Juvenile in the Derby points era. Of the 6 that we've had so far, 5 of the 6 winners had already earned Derby points. Do you know who the one horse who had no points was?
That won the Juvenile?
Yes.
New Year's Day.
That's right. Yep, came in off a maiden win for Bob Baffert. Bob Baffert likely to have the favorite this year. Baffert, of course, no stranger to these conversations. I do think Game Winner will be favored over Complexity, even with the so-called East Coast money, maybe back in the Chad Brown horse.
I agree completely. I think that that he's going to be a solid favorite, but Complexity will definitely take action off that win.
Yeah, well, you and I have Game Winner #1 on our Derby poll. Scott Shapiro moved Complexity up to #1, so definitely an East-West showdown in the Juvenile. And again, no disrespect to the horses who have run in Kentucky, but it just does seem the strengths are on the coast this year.
Oh yeah, right now it is. You know, they can catch up to these 2-year-olds, but right now, yeah, very good-looking horse too, and that Bob Baffert factor with Game Winner, you know, will be much discussed in the weeks to come.
You know, it'll be interesting to see which Bob's maidens might show up in the Juvenile as well. He did do it with New Year's Day. Again, only trainer to bring a horse into the Juvenile with no Derby points and win. 3 of the 6 winners had won a prep. Nyquist, Shanghai Bobby, and Classic Empire. So a mix of ways to get to the Juvenile, but I do think the 2 winners we've seen in the last 2 weeks are definitely the horses to beat.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that completely. It'll be interesting to see those maiden winners because you like Ed said, Tail of the Union and Magic on Tap are, you know, he's got a loaded hand now,
question.
and you know we still got a month to go for the Breeders' Cup.
Yep. All right. Well, we have no points races until the Breeders' Cup, so when we shoot again next week, probably do an Oaks recap. Kovefi and Lady TNT did not back up their Churchill performances, so more on that next week with the Frazette and Alcibiades in the book as well, and then it'll be time to talk Juvenile in earnest.
All right, look forward to it, Ed.
Me too, James.